Welcome to our podcast on America in Crisis. America is crying. We have seen that America is in decline. We have lost everything that is of quality, the most important being the quality of life. But life is not in goods or even jobs. No, quality of life is in life itself. America is crying. We are mourning over our loss. We have lost our sons and daughters, and even husbands and wives, and yes, also our babies. Between wars and the pandemic to drugs and increased violence on our streets and in our schools, we have been saddened by suicides and yes, even abortions. America has had its sorrow. It has had its death. It was God who gave birth to America, and He taught her to walk. He protected her, blessed her with her great blessings, and America became strong. France gave her the Statue of Liberty, and she has held that torch for all these years. The torch was not just any torch. No, it was the light of God, who not only brought people to its light, but guided her through her dark times, until we begin to change. We kicked God out of our schools, out of our workplace, and the marketplace, and even out of our homes. We replaced Him with secular humanism, which says, "There is no God, for I am God, and it is the work of my hands." Deuteronomy 8:16 and 17 tells us this. In the wilderness, it was He who fed you manna, which your fathers did not know, in order to humble you, in order to put you to the test, to do good for you in the end. Otherwise, you may say in your heart, "My power and the strength of my hand made me this wealth." But you are to remember the Lord your God, for it is He who has given you power to make wealth, in order to confirm His covenant, which He swore to your fathers, as it is this day. With today's culture of death instead of life, we have reaped what we have sown. We have seen the fruit of death, life without God. The God who brings life means we are only left with darkness. Death and violence and immorality are constantly before us on our TVs, movies, video games, and music. America is at a breaking point. Yes, a nation can have a breakdown, and we certainly are at that brink. So much sorrow has caused us to be depressed, and our depression has only caused us to increase many of these things that have driven us to this sorrow and depression. We no longer can continue in the drugs and violence and the lifestyle that all lead to death. We may never get over our crying. We may never recover unless, of course, we change course. Let us return to God. We have walked away from Him. Today, there are so many people who no longer call themselves Christians, not even the pastors who teach their congregations. Jeremiah 1:16 says, "And I will pronounce my judgments against them concerning all their wickedness, since they have abandoned me and have offered sacrifices to other gods and worshipped the works of their own hands." Let's end with this. In Revelation 3:15 through 19, "I know your deeds, that you are neither cold nor hot. I wish that you were cold or hot. So because you are lukewarm, and neither hot nor cold, I will vomit you out of my mouth. Because you say, 'I am rich, and have become wealthy, and have no need of anything,' and you do not know that you are wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked. I advise you to buy from me gold refined by fire, so that you may become rich, and white garments, so that you may clothe yourself, and the shame of your nakedness will not be revealed. And eye salve to apply to your eyes, so that you may see those whom I love. I rebuke and discipline. Therefore be zealous and repent." America, let us hear what God has to say to us, and let us quickly repent and come back to the one who gave us birth and gave this country birth. He is our Father, and He will fight for us if we return to Him. And if we do not return, but go our own way, well, Proverbs 1:25 through 33 says this, Because I called and you refused, I stretched out my hand and no one paid attention, and you neglected all my advice and did not want my rebuke. I will also laugh at your disaster. I will mock when your dread comes. When your dread comes like a storm, and your disaster comes like a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then they will call on me, but I will not answer. They will seek me diligently, but will not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They did not accept my advice. They disdainfully rejected every rebuke from me. So they shall eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own schemes. For the faithlessness of the naive will kill them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me will live securely, and will be at ease from the dread of evil. Today, let us stop that which is causing us such distress and harm, and let us make peace with one another, living and respecting one another, as God intended us to live. For only His ways bring peace. Only in peace can you have freedom. But the world's ways will cause us only to keep crying over our losses. Are you going through a crisis? Visit the First Aid Kit on our website.